Her name was Maya Carter, a 34-year-old tech founder living in San Francisco, and on December 31st her family told her not to come to their New Year's Eve dinner because she made everyone uncomfortable, but the truth was far more complicated than that simple excuse, because for years Maya had been slowly pushed to the edges of every family moment, not through direct rejection but through subtle distance, quiet silences, and polite exclusions that hurt more than open conflict. So that night she stayed alone in her apartment with a half-eaten fruit plate sitting untouched on the table and a closed laptop beside her, locked not by choice but by strict legal quiet period rules before her company's official launch, and she told herself she was fine, the kind of fine people learn when they stop expecting warmth from places that once felt like home, but deep down she felt the weight of every memory, every dinner where her ideas were ignored, every moment where her voice felt smaller than it deserved to be. And at exactly 12:01 a.m. just as fireworks lit up the sky outside her window, her phone rang and it was her brother Jake Carter, his voice shaking with panic as he told her their father had seen something on the news and suddenly couldn't breathe properly, and even in that moment Maya stayed calm, her voice steady as she told him to call an ambulance immediately, because she had already prepared herself for chaos long before it arrived, and just 3 days earlier her mother had sent a simple message saying they were keeping things small this year because Maya brought stress into the room. And Maya understood that stress was just another word for truth, ambition, and independence, things her family never quite accepted from her, so instead of arguing she simply replied Happy New Year and put her phone down, choosing silence not out of weakness but out of control, and as she sat there that night she opened a private file she had been maintaining for years, a detailed record of her journey, proof that every idea, every design, every risk belonged to her alone, because she remembered clearly the night years ago when she first shared her idea at a family dinner and no one truly listened. Her father brushed it aside as unrealistic, her mother warned her it was too risky, and Jake casually offered to help as if her vision needed his validation, but instead of fighting for attention Maya chose a different path. She chose patience, discipline, and quiet determination, building everything step by step, protecting her work legally, documenting every detail, and trusting that one day the truth would not need her voice to defend it. And now that day was close, because just before her company was about to go public Jake appeared on a financial news interview, confidently claiming they had built the company together, positioning himself as a co-creator of her success, but confidence without truth is fragile, and in the middle of the interview he made a critical mistake, revealing confidential information about his own workplace, and within hours, everything began to collapse for him as his company launched an internal investigation, distancing themselves from him completely. While Maya remained silent in public, she didn't post, didn't argue, didn't react emotionally, she simply released a short official statement confirming her sole ownership and invention of the company, and that quiet clarity was stronger than any argument, because truth backed by proof does not need noise to be heard. And the next morning her company launched successfully with strong valuation and full control under her name, a moment that should have felt like victory but instead felt like quiet closure. And when her mother called crying, asking her to fix things for Jake, Maya refused calmly, not with anger but with clarity, because she had learned that protecting the truth sometimes means disappointing the people who refuse to see it. And later her father sent her a short letter admitting he had been wrong about her all along, and Maya read it once, slowly, without rushing through the words, and placed it aside without immediately responding, because healing is not something that happens in a moment of regret but in consistent understanding. And in the weeks that followed Jake lost his position and was forced to rebuild his life from the ground up, her family slowly began to face a reality they had ignored for years, while Maya continued forward, building her company alongside people who respected her without asking her to shrink herself to fit their comfort. And 1 year later she hosted a small New Year dinner of her own, not grand or extravagant but peaceful, with simple food, honest conversations, and people who valued her presence. And at midnight as the new year began her phone remained silent, no calls, no chaos, no expectations, and for the first time that silence didn't feel like loneliness, it felt like freedom. The kind of freedom that comes when you stop trying to prove your worth to people who already decided not to see it, and instead choose to build a life where your value is understood without explanation. In life, not everyone will understand your journey, and not everyone is meant to walk with you, but Islam teaches us that our real accountability is with Allah, not with people. If you are right, stay firm with truth, but also protect your character, because dignity and patience, sabr, are greater than any argument. Sometimes silence is not weakness, it is wisdom, and sometimes distance is not pride, it is self-respect. Never change the truth just to please others, and never harm others just to prove yourself right. Trust that Allah sees your intentions, your struggles, and your patience, and He rewards in ways people cannot imagine. Forgive where you can, set boundaries where you must, and always move forward with a clean heart, because true success is not only what you achieve in the world, but how you remain as a person while achieving it. Audience question: have you ever stayed silent to protect your peace, even when you were right, or do you think speaking up is always necessary? What would you choose if you were in this situation?